Morning everybody. I've stayed off of doing videos for a week or so. I was a little bit concerned that I was just getting a bit repetitive and boring, although I may be boring most of the time anyway, but I just felt like I was being, saying the same things over and over again, and so I didn't want to just be seen to be making a video for the sake of it. But I have to say, over the last week, whilst not a lot's really happened apart from speculation and all that kind of stuff, I'm a little bit surprised. Am I surprised? I don't know whether I'm surprised or not. But the amount of negativity that seems to come for every manager that we get linked with is quite strange, really, when you consider that we're all calling out for a manager. We want everything sorted out. For things to be trending on Twitter is quite an achievement, really. Kind of kind of against what you actually want to a certain extent. Now I get it, right? From a Tottenham fan's point of view, we want the very best. We want the very best manager that's available, someone who's going to inspire and all the rest of it. But I think over the last 60 odd days, I think it's fairly clear that whilst Tottenham might have a shiny new stadium and some great training facilities, that isn't really enough to warrant an expectation of an elite manager. Daniel Levy, Paratici, and all the guys at Tottenham will have a clear vision of who or what type of manager they want, right? And whilst it might be nice to have, someone who's elite, you have to kind of bear in mind that really didn't work. They don't get a lot more elite, really, than Jose Mourinho. Like it or not, he is considered one of the best coaches around. He's right up there with, Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp. I mean, he's considered probably better than Jurgen Klopp. And you look around, you've got Zidane and you've got Conte and even Benitez to a certain extent. I think, Ancelotti. These guys are the ones that are pretty much called out as the elite type of manager that are around. And then you've got the up and coming managers that are, on the cusp of that elite tag of winning, a fair amount of silverware in their home countries or wherever it might be. But are we really in that place where we should be expecting an elite manager? And I don't think we are. When you consider the turmoil that's going on in the club, I don't think we can really expect to attract that kind of guy, especially when you consider that, Tottenham have never been a spending club, a real spending powerhouse. So any manager that comes in has got to be prepared to work with that. And elite managers don't. Elite managers come in, they buy the very best, they demand the very best. And that's how they go on to win. So then you're kind of looking in the, project manager, up and coming manager, that kind of stuff. And so I was quite surprised, really, of the reaction to Nuno Espirito Santo. Now, personally, I'm not clever enough or in the know enough to be able to say this manager is the best out there, this is who we should be getting, and all the rest of it. I don't really watch any other football apart from Tottenham. I try not to get involved in the politics of other clubs and how they're run and all the rest of it. I tend to just kind of watch the players when they play against us, or the manager when they're managing against us, to see what they actually get out of their team. So when I look at Nuno, I think to myself, okay, not particularly inspiring, not really gone anywhere special, hasn't won silverware and so on. However, has got Premier League experience, has done fairly well with a team that's coming up from the Championship. Did okay in his first couple of seasons, dropped off a little bit in his last season, but there was a time when they were playing decent football. Excuse me. So when you think of Wolves, I don't think of Wolves as a struggling team, same as like Bournemouth was or Brighton was. I think of them as a kind of, I don't know, and also ran a mid-table, someone pushing for top 6, that kind of stuff. And that's generally because of the manager, to be fair. So I was really surprised at the no to Nuno hashtag trending #1 in the country and stuff. And I'm like, how entitled do we think we are as a fan base? How much do we think we're better than we are? Should we really be, calling out that he's not good enough? Well, who is good enough? Who is good enough to be the next manager of a team that potentially is going to lose its star player, a player who's been doing the most out of all of the players, a club where there is some real cultural issues amongst the players, a club where there is no money available to spend unless you sell, a club that has the most trickiest chairman in the Premier League, a club whose fans are expectant. Who is really going to want to take that job? I find it quite mind-boggling, really. I know, at this moment in time, personally, I'd just be keen to get somebody in to start making plans, to start looking at the future of the club, the future of the players. Who do we want in preparations for the new season and so on. I'm just more concerned that if this doesn't get sorted out soon, we could be just making excuses for the whole of next season that the manager didn't get a pre-season, or the manager didn't get the players that they wanted, or the manager didn't get it, and then we're into another year beyond that where, that was their first season, this season will be better, and then we end up on that same old managerial merry-go-round of not knowing, what the answer is. And I don't know what the answer is now, to be honest. But I do think we need someone who's got Premier League experience, and I do think we need someone who can steady the ship, at least if it is for another season, because I'm just worried that if we can't steady things, it will spiral out of control, spiral down into nothing, and we could end up, real mid-table, battling, and, getting even more aggravation and more problems of being, relegation fodder even, and that might be a bit sort of overstating it, and that might be a little bit of, being over the top. I don't know, but that's your fear, right? That's going to happen. So, I think this sense of entitlement, we need to maybe put that to one side, and back who we get. Personally, I don't think the hashtag makes any difference whatsoever. Anyway, I think Daniel Levy will appoint whoever he wants to appoint, regardless of what a hashtag says. He probably wouldn't take any notice of a hashtag anyway, because if he did, the ENIC out, Levy out would be upsetting him more than anything, and I don't see that happening either. So yeah, a bit of a strange situation. We are 60 odd days in, we still don't have a manager, and every manager whose name gets put forward to all the fans are going, no, we don't want them. So it is a bit of a stalemate. I just don't know where we're heading, and I'm becoming a little bit despondent with it, to be honest. I'm a little bit like, whatever, what it's going to be is going to be, and that's not a great place to be. I'd much rather be talking about, what great signings we've got coming on, and how the preparation's going, and that kind of stuff. Whereas at the moment, all I'm thinking about is there going to be a manager? Why can't we get a manager? Is this becoming, more and more of a laughing stock as time goes on? It's just crazy. And the reality is we don't know the truth. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know whether all these people are rejecting Tottenham. We don't know whether they're on the list of people to interview or not. But clearly they didn't have a number one target, or if they did, that number one target isn't available or wasn't available. So we'll just have to sit back and wait, kids, and see what happens. We don't really have a choice. But ultimately, I'm just going to keep an open mind and see what happens, and carry on supporting the team and see where we go from there. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Up the Spurs.